Game in particular is very simplified. Obviously, there's a lot of pro level strats and shit that can go into the game, but say for instance, you're a beginner and you're like, I see a lot of people talking about Melty Blood, let me check it out, and you're scared about the gap as far as how a beginner can approach the game. There's a lot of, they simplified a lot of the mechanics so that a beginner can approach the gap. Oh, yeah. I got this. I wasn't originally planning on getting it, but I figured why not? Because a lot of people were talking about it. And I haven't really touched a fighting game in a while since, I believe, Fighters.
Yeah, for you, yeah, Fighters.
I mean, I'm not going to be too deep in this game anyway. I'll talk about that, but basically, Melty Blood, as far as what I know about the series, is essentially you have the people who wrote Fate, or the guy who wrote Fate. He has this other series. I don't know if it's like a spin-off or it's within the same universe called like Tsukahime or something like that. And that has a spin-off in and of itself, which is what Melty Blood is. And I guess it's a series about fighting vampires or something like that. If you're looking for actual like story relevance or backstory or anything to do with Melty Blood, Tsukahime, Fate, you're looking at the wrong person. I have no idea who any of those characters are. I have no idea what the story is. All I know is that there's vampires in there. That's it. But it is made by Arc System Works, and the game plays very similar to, for people who know their fighting games, it plays very similar to Under Night, which was another fighting game series that I actually really liked. And that story, it's like Arc System loves, like when it comes to 2D sprite based action or fighting games that Arc System works on, just know that if you're looking for a story, like I know people like to harp on Kingdom Hearts having a convoluted story. I'm telling you, you just look at any of the like Melty Blood, Under Night, Fate, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, any of those games. To me, those games have a way more convoluted story than Kingdom Hearts could ever even dream about touching. So essentially, as far as mechanics go, it's very simplified. Like, and that's kind of, and I know it's weird to say it, but think of it kind of like a more simplified, for those who know their fighting games, think of it as like a more simplified cross tag battle. And it's like, is the reason why I'm saying it's weird is because the 2D based fighting games typically have a lot more, at least in my experience, have a lot more complexity as far as the integral, fighting game mechanics are concerned. But this game in particular is very simplified. Obviously, there's a lot of pro level strats and shit that can go into the game, but say for instance, you're a beginner and you're like, I see a lot of people talking about Melty Blood, let me check it out, and you're scared about the gap as far as how a beginner can approach the game. They simplified a lot of the mechanics so that a beginner can approach the game. I consider myself like a intermediate beginner when it comes to fighting games. Like, I know the mechanics. If I train in the training lab and all the other stuff, I can pick up on stuff. But like, as far as like online play, rank play and stuff like that, you not go see that stuff from me. I don't really delve too much into that stuff because I don't care about that. I'm not getting paid for that, so I'm not trying to bag or anything like that. But you have standard auto combos. And I guess the unique thing about this game is that every auto combo, and again, I know fighting game elites are going to be mad at me, but I'm playing this game on the PlayStation. So I'm going to correlate the buttons to the actual controller of the PlayStation. So you have your standard light attack, which is square, your medium attack, which is triangle, and your heavy attack, which is circle. And then you have a block, which is your cross button or X. And basically, each of your like buttons, like square, triangle, circle, they lead to an auto combo that launches your opponent into the air, and it ends with a grab, which is very similar to, not ending with a grab, but launching your opponents into an air with an auto combo is very similar to a lot of the characters in Dragon Ball Fighters, which I do like. And then, you know, you have your standard command inputs for special attacks. You can use your, you know, your gauges at the bottom to do EX versions of those attacks, which are more powerful versions that can lead to more combos, or it's a very powerful combo finisher. You have like your level 1s, your level 2s, level 3s, and then there's a level 4, which is like your ultimate attack, basically, which does a crap ton of damage like any other fighting game that you've heard of. As far as characters are concerned, I'm basic as hell when it comes to like those type of fighting games. I typically play the Shoto, which is like the main character, because they're the most balanced and most easiest to play if you are a beginner character. So there's two of them in this game. There's this, I call her Vampire Saber, because I was talking about this, like how Toriyama has this template when it comes to Dragon Quest games, and how it's literally like, hey Toriyama, we need you to design some characters for our Dragon Quest game. He's like, all right, let me pull out the template under the cabinet. Boom, there's your Dragon Quest characters. The dude,
which version of Goku and Trunks do you want?
Basically. And then for the villain, which version of Cell or Majin Buu do you want? And then, so for the Melty Blood game, I've noticed a lot when it comes, especially when it comes to the Fate characters, that like he basically takes Saber, the character Saber, and basically does a bunch of recolors, and that's your different female character. So the main female character of the game, I call her Vampire Saber, because she's a vampire that looks exactly like Saber. And then the main male character, he wields this knife, and like I guess his specialty is that he can like see a bunch of lines and shit that he can cut. I don't know what that has. Again, I have no clue what that has to do with anything. But I've played both of them and I like it so far. I'm probably gonna experiment and play as a bunch of different characters. I did the story mode for one of the characters, which is the main male character, the dude with the glasses and the knife. And I didn't understand a thing that was going on. It's like your typical standard arcade mode where it's like 7 stages. You get like 2 or 3 cutscenes, and then at the end you get like this final cutscene about the overall arc of their story, which I didn't get. Basically, I guess the main character hates vampires, so he was going around killing vampires. That was basically the story, what I understood. So all in all, and I guess as far as like the different modes you have like the tutorial mode is actually pretty good. It does do a good job of explaining the mechanics of the game and letting you know what you can do with it. There's a mission mode where basically you pick a character and the game gives you a bunch of like cool combos that you can do with the character in case you want to ever use them or main them. There's a, you know, time attack mode, arcade mode, you know, your standard versus mode, story mode, and then you have your online mode, which is like ranked and I think normal quick play type of stuff. So there's stuff for there, because I mean, basically if anybody is getting Melty Blood, like I'm the outlier. I don't usually play online. I usually just fuck around doing offline stuff. But if you're getting a fighting game, you're going to be playing online. And from what I've heard, as far as online is concerned, they have rollback, which is what a lot of people are pining for when it comes to fighting games, which basically means better online connection, online connectivity. I heard it's really good. It's not as good as Guilty Gear Strive, but it's close enough. And I guess that's enough for fighting game players. So, to wrap it up, I would say that, yeah, this is a decent game. This isn't a game that I'm gonna be playing all the time, but if I need something to do, if I want to just dick around and do something, because I'm low-key tired of fighters, I'll pop in Melty Blood and do a bunch of combos and call it a day. Maybe play 1 or 2 ranked games just to see how toxic and sweaty the online is, because the fighting game community loves to not want to have fun when it comes to fighting games. But yeah, I give this game a solid 7 out of 10. It's okay. It's not the greatest fighting game I've ever played, especially 2D. I still think Under Night is the best that I played, because I freaking love that game. But it's a very close second, third, whatever. So I will say that if you are interested in getting Melty Blood, you're somebody in the fighting game community who's a bit skeptical of the game. It's because it's an anime fighter game. You don't have to concern yourself with the characters or the backgrounds or anything like that. If you're looking for a fighting game with good mechanics and fun playability, Melty Blood is going to do that for you. I'm also calling y'all out because y'all got a $30 DLC pack for announcement voices, which is dumb as all hell. And the reason why I'm saying it's dumb is because it's Japanese dub. So it's like, okay, you're getting an announcement pack for characters that only speak Japanese. So unless you're fluent in Japanese and can understand everything, unless they're talking English, you're paying $30 for characters who are going to say stuff that you don't know what the heck they're going to be talking about. So that's another reason why it's a 7 out of 10, because I got to call you out on that dumbass DLC. But that's Melty Blood. Decent.
All right, cool. So that's it in terms of what's cracking, unless we want to quickly just say shout out to One Piece for a decent chapter, and shout out to My Hero for another talking ass chapter. So so shout out to them.
Sick, yeah. I'm too sick, I'm too sick, I'm too sick, I'm going sick, I'm going stupid, I'm too sick,